Hey, hey, Leo, welcome to your June reading. I'm excited to get into these cards. First things first, Spirit said goal oriented. The minute that I tuned into your energy, and they said you were being lit up by ambition, something about long term goals and needing to set some milestones for yourself. Perhaps some of you need to recognize some milestones. So, I don't know, maybe we're going to see a 9 or 10 of wands somewhere in your reading. We'll get to your cards again in just a second. But Spirit is giving me this feeling of remember your why. And I feel like you're going to get messages and feelings and even dreams that kind of remind you of your why. Like, what am I excited about? What does success look and particularly feel like for me? And if you don't know, it's time to do, Leo, you're the child of the zodiac. It's time to do some good old fashioned daydreaming, some good old fashioned laying back, closing my eyes. What would feel wow if somebody said this to me? If I received this accolade or this reward or whatever it is, I would feel so incredible. Just imagine and then follow that. Okay? Gemini season. And Gemini for Leo rising people is the house of long term goals and ambitions, allies and organizations. What do you consider to be some of your causes? And I'm talking about stuff that lights you up and makes you feel passionate. Okay? Pursue that. That's part of your design. Okay? So if you're sitting around bored or you're waiting to find out what lights you up, it's time to get serious about searching. It's time to be goal oriented, and a reminder that your goal doesn't have to be about like money or status or whatever. It could be like, I want to enjoy being more creative, or I want to spend more time outside, or whatever. Like, I want to connect more with bliggity blank blank blank. And then act in accordance, right? Okay, let's pull some cards, Leo. We're going to look at the story of June. For Leo people, we'll pull a protagonist card to see how you are showing up, what aspects of yourself that Spirit wants to make you aware of, always and only for your highest good, Leo. For your joy, abundance, peace, fulfillment, ease, and sense of security. These cards are jumping. Let's go. Spirit, want to take a look at the recent past for Leo people. The recent past as it pertains to the unfolding present and future. You want to look at the trajectory of the month of June, Spirit, the landmarks, the milestones that you would point out to Leo people. Wow, to keep them on path. Okay. Spirit, please tell me a little about the unfolding future, the choice point that Leo finds themselves at in the month of June. And Spirit, we want to know your guidance. How can Leo people best navigate? Wow. In the month of June. Okay. And Spirit, what are they navigating? What kind of climate are Leo people working with so that they can be best prepared? Wear the proper clothing, metaphorically speaking. All right. And Spirit, want to know a potential outcome. Given the trajectory that we're about to find out, want to know a potential outcome so that Leo can steer toward or steer away from, depending on what they want. Potential outcome in June for Leo, okay? And finally, Spirit, we want to know a key for unlocking the best of June, for understanding what June is presenting and how best to act on it, move with it. Thank you, Spirit. Let's see what we got. Wow. That was, okay, I'll explain in just a second. Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Goal-oriented, bold choice. Knight of Pentacles is extremely goal-oriented. So if you are showing up as a Knight of Pentacles, that is showing you that you are in a transitional phase. You are not at your ultimate destination, but you're also not where you started. It kind of rhymes with what Spirit was saying about maybe you need to set yourself some milestones, or you might need to recognize the milestones so that you're like, oh, actually, I've come a really long way and I need to give myself some credit for that because the journey isn't over. And Spirit is funny, but they're like, you wouldn't, for example, if you were on a literal journey on horseback, you wouldn't be like, hey, horse, I know you're hungry and tired and thirsty, but we just got to go a little bit. No. You would take your horse to water, right? You would give it some food. You would make sure that it gets some rest so that it can continue the journey. Spirit is comparing that to thanking yourself, nourishing yourself, giving yourself the credit, not saying, yeah, you can have your hay horse as soon as we cross the fucking finish line. Let's not do that, right? So, slow and steady does appear to win the race this month. You have a couple of cards of slowness, stillness, and also just steadiness. You already see the sun card there. That is you, steady and shining. And I love to see that, especially coming after that Four of Cups and especially looking at that Ten of Swords that we are dealing with. Okay, so where are you coming from, Knight? You are coming from a place where you haven't been recognizing some of the blessings in your life, potentially. And no blame, no shame, no judgment. That's a very normal human thing. It's why we have a whole card for it, because it's a very typical human experience. So it has to be included in the 78 unique experiences that we could get in a reading, right? So, Four of Cups, have you been comparing what you have to the ideal in a way that is demotivating? Spirit is being really specific because, they open the reading talking about if you don't know what would feel wonderful or what you want, like where you want to end up, quote unquote, right? Life is a journey. We never end up anywhere completely. It's always a journey. But the next milestone or the next goal or the next feeling of like, I've made it. If you don't know what that is, they said, like, spend some time daydreaming. But there is a difference between the kind of like daydreams and imaginings and, little, manifestation walks is one of the things Spirit is saying, where it's like where you walk and you listen to really good music and you let your mind wander to like what would feel so cool, what would be an amazing next chapter in my life, and just see what kind of pops up. When you're doing it that way, you can get like downloads and inspirations and great ideas, and you can make connections. When it's like, hey, Spirit is funny, but they're like active imagination versus kind of passive imagination of the Four of Cups, which is like you're not really doing much imagining, you're just comparing the past to the present, or the it should be like this to what it is, and not in a way that's like, now how can I make this closer to what I want? Four of Cups is also the card of the hidden blessing. So something may have been a disappointment in the recent past, and you might be finding out in the very, very, very near future, if not already, the sun shows up on the other side of this Four of Cups. So any form of like disappointment or a feeling of comparison or like, why not me? I feel like you're going to get I feel like you're going to get some spotlight and some exciting opportunities coming your way that make you feel like, oh, okay. I almost feel a little bit silly for having like kind of sat in my like, about that thing. But also, again, no blame, no shame, no judgment. We got to feel our feelings. But if you're not moving, and you feel like you are sort of stuck in that state, I would encourage you to slow and steady, Knight of Pentacles. You don't have to change overnight. You don't have to flip everything. You don't have to get everything done in the month of June or anything close to it. Little baby, slow, steady steps forward are better than no steps at all. And especially looking at your cards, I would say it's important to honor consistency over intensity. So showing up and doing something for 5 minutes every day is a lot better than, oh, I did, 2 hours of something once this month. And then I kind of fell off of it. And then I end up feeling kind of like, I didn't even make any progress. Why isn't it turning out the way that I want it to? It might be a need to value consistency over intensity. And Spirit is saying, what if you were to, right? Whatever day that you maybe begin listening to this reading, hopefully you're at the early, part of the month, but wherever you are, what if you set a goal, a small, sustainable, reasonable, Knight of Pentacles, grounded style goal for something that you want to make progress on in 30 days. So that could be anything. You could be like, oh, I want to write a book, or, oh, I want to get more physically strong, or I really need to clean my house, or whatever. So, okay, How much progress could I set in 30 days? What kind of milestone would I like to set for myself? And whatever it is that you leap to first, think about, okay, what about like 30 to 50% of that? Just to say, let's not set our expectations so high and so, far forward or whatever that we end up disappointing ourselves. I want us to feel like the sun, like present, excited, the way is clear. I can see what I need to do. This, like the sun and the Knight of Pentacles vibe, harmonize really nicely as cards because the sun is about just showing up and being yourself, and you can see the road ahead of you. And the Knight of Pentacles sees the road ahead and is like, yep, I can see it's a kind of a long way. And instead of that making me rush or making me discouraged, that just reminds me to stay present. Stay present, one foot in front of the other. Consistency over intensity. You will shine. You will feel like I'm doing what I need to do. I'm feeling vital. I'm feeling energetic. I'm feeling strong. And I feel like choice is also a major theme in your reading. We have sitting in the future the Two of Wands, clarified by the Death card. And I cannot help but see a connection between that and the climate of the month of June, Ten of Swords, something that you've been needing to let go of. Something, and Spirit is being very specific, something that will feel like a relief to let go of. Like I've been thinking and talking and worrying about this, about this, about this, about this, about this. And you know what? Que sera, sera is what Spirit just said. Like, whatever will be, will be. Okay, you know what? I'm going to rest in the fact that, like, I've said and done everything that I can. And now I can walk away, move forward. That's really the phrase that Spirit is leading me on. For my own good. So, what have you been overthinking, overdoing, or perhaps for some of you, this is what Spirit is showing me. They're highlighting the Ten of Swords, the Death card, and that key, the Four of Swords. These are cards of endings, of potential grief, of strong change, and then recovery from, recollecting ourselves, recovering from that difficult situation or that big transition in our life. Spirit is literally showing me some of you moving. Like, oh my God, this was exhausting. And getting away from that place that I used to be, Ten of Swords. Like I'm grateful to be away from it, but damn, I'm tired. Like that was exhausting. Yes. And Four of Swords, you need some intentional time and space to process the changes that you're making and that you want to make. Okay? So Spirit is making a comparison between like working out and recovery. You can't do one without the other, right? If you got up every day and lifted heavy weights every single day for a couple of hours, like you would never be giving your body the time to actually recover and re-stitch the muscles, and you would end up at a disadvantage and likely an injury sooner than later, right? So slow and steady, consistency over intensity, take breaks, find time to recover, find time also just to get your mind clear and spacious. Spirit is giving me a phrase, which is the title of a book. Some of you might be using it. Some of you might have it sitting on a shelf gathering dust because you've thought about using it, but you haven't picked it up. The Artist's Way. Julia Cameron, I believe, is the author's name. She's an artist. Spirit is serving that up. So if some of you have been like thinking about it, or you have it again gathering dust somewhere, and you've been meaning to get into it, that could be one way to make it Knight of Pentacles. This is no brainer. I'm following this process. And so if I follow the process all the way through, I have succeeded no matter what that looks like, because it's your own journey. Okay. So that I love that. That's really encouraging and lovely. And speaking of encouraging and lovely, let's talk about another theme in your cards. You have the Two of Cups as your guidance. Share. And specifically share in these one-on-one scenarios. That could look like a lover, a partner. That could look like a best friend. That could look like a creative or business partner. It's like when we exchange, beautiful things happen. And there are beautiful feelings. So it's not just, oh, we work well together. That might be more like a pentacle situation. This is like we vibe. We have chemistry. When we exchange cups, really, again, magical, beautiful things happen. A chemical reaction happens and things really like pop off, is kind of what I'm hearing. And then combine that with a potential outcome, the lovers. Hello? Hello? Light? No? Okay. The lovers. A passionate choice. Two of Wands sits in the future and a death card. A Ten of Swords of like you did everything you could, walk away. Spirit is like sometimes we are shown, by doors shut in our face in life that like as much as you may wish this would be the path for you, this is not the path for you. And yes, you are being redirected. And yes, sometimes rejection is redirection, as they say. And you are being pushed to decide, I'm done with this because this, whatever this habit, this phase of my life, this relationship, whatever it is for you, what is the thing that has been holding you back from growing in the way and the direction that you want to? Because I feel like you get a hint of the excitement of the growth this month, and there's this opportunity to really go all in. Go all in and go all out, right? That's the lovers. I'm all in. I'm making the choice. I'm committed. And I'm in harmony. I'm completely, the quote unquote, masculine and feminine, the yin and the yang, like they're both present and they're integrated. There is some beautiful chemistry this month, and what I feel when I look at that death card is like July is going to look very different. That's just what I feel. July is going to look very different than June, and we're going to have to talk about it then. But this looks like a positive, very positive new beginning if you are willing to lean into like again, what makes me feel excited about my future. Because sometimes it's not our job. Sometimes it's like the job is the job and the job makes me money, but there needs to be something that is really exciting that you look forward to, that you want to grow and build. And it looks amazing to me as long as you cut the dead weight. Cut the dead weight. What do you need to stop worrying about or focusing on, Four of Cups, to the detriment of what is actually here? So again, comparing yourself or saying it should be like this instead of like this, to the point that it's keeping you from making any adjustments to whatever this is to improve it, okay? Focus on what is here and how I can create more of what I like. Okay? Okay. How does that sit on you, Leo? I hope it's really helpful for the month of June. I hope that you have a great month. I hope that I catch you in the Sunday Live every week, 11 a.m. Central. I hope I'll see you there. And if not, then I hope I will catch you in the July reading to see what unfolded over the course of this month. I'm very curious. All right. Till then, stay blessed, Leo. Bye-bye.